So many people were wondering, when will Sam Altman start a new company? Is he going to start a new company? 87% of the people thought that he will start a new company before 2025. 64% thought that he might start a new company before June 2024. 25% thought that he will start a new company by 2023, before the end of the year. Only 21% said he would have a new company up by Monday. Now, remember, this is the person that said, "You cannot out-accelerate me." OpenAI co-founder Altman plans new venture. So who had money on less than 24 hours later? So Sam Altman is already spinning up a brand new company, and it has not been 24 hours yet. But that's not even the biggest news. Before we continue, let me ask you this. What do you think is the chance of Sam Altman being back in the CEO role of OpenAI by Monday? Let's take a look. So really fast, let's just do a 30-second recap of what happened. Now, keep in mind, it sounds like no one knew this was coming, other than perhaps Ilya Sutskever, Mira Murati. We know she was aware of this as of one day before this whole thing happened. And then probably the other board members involved in this. I think saying hostile takeover is proper in this case. So on Thursday, Sam gets a text from Ilya saying, "Hey, let's talk on noon on Friday." On Friday, Sam calls in. It's a Google Meet. The whole board is there except Greg Brockman. And Ilya informs Sam that he's out. At 12:19, Greg got a text from Ilya asking for a quick call. So what's crazy to me is that whole thing was wrapped up in under 20 minutes. It sounds like it was quick and dirty. No advanced warning, no niceties, no discussion. It's like, you're out, we're in, that's it. And by the way, they didn't notify Greg that there was a board meeting or whatever that meeting was where all the board members were present. So they specifically made sure Greg was not there. So 20 minutes after that, Greg gets a text from Ilya asking for a quick call. He's told that he's removed from the board, but that he's vital to the company and he will retain his role. And they also inform that Sam has been fired. Greg sends this out to everybody, to the whole team of OpenAI, saying, "Hey, it was nice working with you, but I quit." Right around that time is when Satya Nadella, Microsoft CEO, is notified because he seems like he was scrambling on Friday to try to get the word out to his investors, to his stakeholders, saying everything's cool. Don't worry. We still have access to everything we need from OpenAI. So it sounds like there's a impromptu meeting at OpenAI, and Ilya sounds like he's getting grilled a little bit by some of the employees, some of the talent. They're calling this a coup. They're calling this a hostile takeover. And he's saying, yeah, you can call it this way. He doesn't agree with that terminology, but he and the board were doing their duty to the mission of the nonprofit. And he's saying that, yeah, these backroom cloak and dagger deals and removals and some people are saying backstabbing, betrayal, etc. We'll get into why that may or may not be the case, but he's basically saying, yeah, this is not the ideal way to handle this, and he has his regrets, but he needed to do it for the benefit of the company, for the mission of the company. And the mission is, of course, to create AGI that benefits all of humanity. Now, at this point, OpenAI is where the valuation is like 86 billion. They're the hottest thing in tech right now. And some of the employees were looking forward to maybe selling some of their shares. This was kind of like their lottery ticket. They hit it big. They sell a few shares and they don't have to worry about money anymore. Ilya himself might have been making, a few billion from that. Who knows? But that whole thing is just set on fire because no one's going to value the company that high without the face of the company, without the founders, the people that were there from day one. And so people are dropping like flies. The top senior researchers are getting out of there. So here are some of the top people that left OpenAI following this decision. Sam Altman, that was the first domino. Greg Brockman, Jacob Pachoki, GPT-4 lead director of research. That's this fellow right here. Head of AI risk, Alexander Madry. So this is one of the reasons why this whole idea of this being done in the name of AI safety doesn't really make sense. If this was indeed for AI safety, then why did the head of your AI risk department, why did he leave within 24 hours of you firing the guy that supposedly was the AI risk, right? The one that was increasing the AI risk. And also the open source baselines researcher, Simon Sidor. So that's day one. So Ilya and the board messaged Sam Altman and they're like, "Hey, we messed up. Can you chat? Let's hop on a Google Meet." Now, I'm kidding. This is not a real screenshot, but it does sound like something like this is happening. Let's get to that in just 1 second. Really fast, let's just take 1 second to think about kind of the two sides of this. Before this whole thing happened, I I did like Sam Altman, and I had a lot of trust in him. As a leader of this organization, I had trust in him. And I also had trust in Ilya Sutskever. He seemed like he was all about the science, no nonsense, no backroom deals. He seemed like a straight shooter that was doing it for the greater good. And then this happens, and it's like, well, who's the bad guy? Who's the good guy, right? Who's in the wrong? Who's doing the right thing? Who's doing the wrong thing? If you want to understand the perspective of Ilya, or at least their stated perspective of them and the AI risk people, the board, here's, I think, a tweet that sums it up well. What if they just wanted to go back to being a little research organization? A few hundred people, no commercial products, maybe a few demos here and there to collect data. Maybe Ilya, the board, most of the research team, maybe all they wanted to do was to be focused on research. They didn't want to deal with Microsoft and the GPT store and potential security issues. They didn't want that much attention. They didn't want to ship products quickly to try to monetize them. It does seem, and this is unconfirmed, but it does seem that the Developers Day, the announcements made there, were some of the big things that soured the relationship, or at least that was the straw that broke the camel's back. This idea that we're going to put out GPTs out there, these custom agents, and then we're going to try to monetize them. Because everybody got very excited. I got very excited. I mean, can you imagine going back in time and being there when the Apple App Store opened up and being one of the first on there, knowing what a big opportunity that was? Or being early to Facebook ads, which I can tell you was huge if you were there at the right time, or doing SEO on Google or selling on Amazon or whatever. This seemed like a brand new thing. Everybody had dollar bills in their eyes, right? Maybe they just didn't align with their idea of developing AGI slowly, carefully. Now, of course, that means if they stay on this course, that probably means that what we know as GPTs, ChatGPT, all this new stuff, it's going to get scaled back. Vision's going to get scaled back. Our ability to create agents and share is going to be scaled back. API usage probably limited to research. Maybe Microsoft will have their side of it where they're going to allow some use for APIs and stuff like that. But maybe they generally just wanted to go back to that. They thought that was the best idea. Here's a spicy take by Varen Mathur. He's co-founder and CEO of Hyperspace AI. So he's saying, "Dear Mira and Ilya, congratulations on your coup at OpenAI. Since both of you have never raised a penny as entrepreneurs, let me explain what happens. Oh, and you will need to raise since your venture's unit economics don't make sense. Remember, you pay 30 cents every time someone asks a doofus questions to ChatGPT. Heck, I sometimes ask the same thing 5 times. He goes on, also, the last deal at 80 billion valuation is as dead as the Egyptian pharaohs. Glorious to write about and visualize, but super dead, under the sand, not coming back. Not only that, but you sideswipe your biggest partner, Microsoft. Of course, publicly, they will say the right thing, but you know, and they know, and a random fellow like me knows it, they must be seething mad about it. Few of your top researchers have already quit. And if there's one thing Sam Altman is especially good at, it is raising and deploying capital. Before the sign with your name and title as CEO and de facto CEO gets emblazoned in the OpenAI offices, Sam will have a new company, $1 billion investment, and offers out to all of your soon-to-be X top product people and researchers. This, by the way, may literally be true. It might take longer to engrave a sign than for Sam Altman to get capital and start sniping these people from OpenAI. So you head into next week having lost your top deal maker, top researchers, top product visionary, top partner, and top investor. And with a business which has terrible unit economics. And let's not forget, the two of you are not entrepreneurs. Most people in your board have never held a proper tech job ever. You never had to face the abject rejection which follows from pitching many investors, going through the process, and getting to close. Getting to close is the toughest. Sometimes investors say yes, but they don't actually mean it. Sometimes they even sign and still don't wire the funds. You will need to live through all of it. The pain and rejection, and feel intense amounts of pressure of having to provide for your team members who have to pay their mortgages, car loans, kids' school tuitions, the ones whom you played with at the last company picnic. That's a great point. I do think a lot of people that are removed from the business, people that are researchers, people that are in academia, people that haven't built their own business from scratch, oftentimes have a poor sense of, well, how money works. A lot of these people have $1 million compensation packages. The employees, the people's salaries, they expect to be paid every week or every other week, whatever. Where do you get the money to pay the salaries, office rent, taxes, compute? That has to come from somewhere. being an idealist and wanting to be above profits and commercial uses, maybe that's noble. But if you can't pay the rent, then you're out on the street. Your employees leave, your lab closes. You can't advance anything if you can't pay the bills. After you are exhausted with the realities of the market, you will sell out OpenAI to Microsoft entirely and be housed as global principal product managers in Building 4 in Seattle, where it rains nonstop. Microsoft will never fire you, but Satya will always say the right things about you because he's an honorable person. But deep down in your heart, as you're watching the Netflix movie on OpenAI and Joseph Gordon-Levitt's wife plays herself as a board member who fired Sam Altman over Google Meet, I don't know that reference. So this is Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Oh, that's one of the board members is his wife? Okay, I did not know that. Okay, I did not know that. Okay, that's funny. So she's gonna play herself in the Netflix movie that's gonna be made about this. Okay, that's good. And so she's gonna play herself as the board member who fired Sam Altman over Google Meet. Who would play Sam Altman, I wonder? You will think and realize that you've had it all. You could have been at the helm of a $1 trillion company. History will forget you. Sam and Greg and everyone else would have moved on and forgotten about you. EAC, effective acceleration, meaning building AI to its AGI glory, would have built out fundamental OpenAI alternative in any case. So I think this nails a lot of really good points. I understand that there may be groups of people, groups of researchers that don't want to feel dirty by commercializing certain products, trying to make money, trying to make profits. They want it to be pure research. They want it to be for all of mankind. Those are noble qualities to have. But OpenAI is this incredible, or was perhaps this incredible force with all the right players in place, working hard, putting all their best efforts to move the company forward. Sam Altman flew around the world and talked to all the leaders, got everybody on board and went in front of Congress. Microsoft came in, picked up tab for training the models. And to think that you could just cut somebody out and still have everything, still have it all. We still want the money. We still want the funding. We still want the clout. We still want the technology. This guy, let's kick him out. The face of the company. We don't like him. In my first video, I said, that's like what they did to Steve Jobs. He built so much of it and then he just gets kicked out for whatever reasons, political or whatever. People didn't like that he was mean to them or whatever. But just like Steve Jobs comes back to Apple, will Sam Altman come back to OpenAI? It seemed like the board of OpenAI quickly realized how badly they've screwed up. Probably a few lawyers called them, Microsoft lawyers, Sam Altman's lawyers, anyone else that's been invested in that. A lot of the top researchers said, screw you guys, you are undermining everything we're building, we're walking. And maybe they did realize the error of their ways. Because here's the latest. I walked by OpenAI's office. This is what it looks like today. But wait, there's a plot twist. OpenAI board in discussions with Sam Altman to return as CEO. And so this is going on. So it sounds like there's a lot of discussions going on right now. So Sam Altman presented, it sounds like he's ambivalent about returning. It seems like he wants some changes in governance. So as of 5:35 p.m. Pacific time on November 18th, that's Saturday today, a source close to Altman says the board had agreed in principle to resign and allow Altman and Brockman to return, but since have missed a key deadline by which many OpenAI staffers were set to resign. If Altman decides to leave and start a new company, those staff would assuredly go with him. So I don't really see how they have a choice. If their key members are leaving, OpenAI doesn't have a enforceable non-compete law. Funding will not be an issue here since everybody knows what OpenAI is, what they have. They know who Sam Altman is. People would be running to just throw whatever money Altman needs to get the new OpenAI 2.0 going. So he's got the funding, he's got the talent. Now, obviously, Ilya Sutskever seems like he's a powerhouse in the AI sphere in terms of research and stuff like that. So losing him might be a blow, but it's probably nothing that would stop them from rebuilding to the current point and then progressing forward. He's not some existential key to OpenAI working. And then they list the people that are currently on the board. So you have Ilya Sutskever, kind of the man that led the charge to kick out Sam Altman. Quora CEO Adam D'Angelo, former GeoSim Systems CEO Tasha McCauley, that's the one that's going to be playing herself, I think, and Helen Toner, the Director of Strategy at Georgetown Center for Security and Emerging Technology. And unlike traditional companies, the board isn't tasked with maximizing shareholder value, and none of them hold equity in OpenAI. What makes this whole situation so strange in so many different ways is, if you truly believe that AGI is just around the corner, if you understand what that means, you do kind of understand that money as we know it will be very different. If human labor, the cost and the worth of human labor starts dropping, how the economy operates, how money functions, it's going to be affected. It's probably going to be changed somehow, right? There's going to be some changes that will need to be made. And the fact that all these, I assume, very wealthy people sign on to a company where investors can't make more than a certain amount of money, right? Because there's a limit to how much they can increase their investment through OpenAI. They don't have to maximize shareholder value. They don't hold equity on OpenAI. The whole thing is very strange. It's very different from anything else that I think we've encountered in the Silicon Valley or any other normal functioning business. So it looks like the big investors, the big venture capital people are pushing to try to get Sam Altman back into OpenAI. Tiger Global, very well-known tech investor, mainly tech investor. Sequoia Capital, a massive investing firm. They're pushing people at Microsoft, the executives at Microsoft, the largest OpenAI's backers, to help engineer Sam Altman's return. So that's where we are right now. So there are many questions that have yet to be answered. What was Ilya thinking? I'd love to get his side of the story. He's not as public as the rest of the company, or at least as Sam Altman, who's just appearing on a lot of interviews, talking to a lot of people. Ilya did appear on Lex Fridman podcast, but he seems reserved. He doesn't get too emotional. It's hard to read him, but I would love to know exactly what he was thinking when he did that. Did he think he could just change this one variable and everything else will remain the same? Will Sam Altman be back at the OpenAI office on Monday as CEO? I feel like there's a lot of very powerful people that are working right now to make that happen. Some of the wealthiest people in the world, the venture capital investors, the people that made a lot of money investing in internet technologies and are still continuing to invest, it seems they're all aligned in the same way. They want Sam Altman back. And perhaps the most important question of all, who would play Sam Altman when this invariably becomes a movie or a mini series? I can't wait to find out. Please subscribe if you haven't already. My name is Wes Roth, and thank you for watching.